wholeheartedly was like playing full force, like trying to win, and I did worse than ever. Like I got killed. I came in dead last, and it was a stupid question, a really stupid question, and I honestly I was like so frustrated and so disappointed, and you know, it's funny because you used to always joke around about how, you know, people would only want to, like, you know, talk the strategy with me, and I was like the mastermind of, you know, no, I'm saying blah, 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 blah. But here it is. You're the one who's saved my ass twice in a row now and carrying me on your back for sure. Yeah. You're like, yeah, that's true. I know Jamaica said she was joking around with you about it or whatever, but I
what?
Literally was like just scaling like the thing to try and get to you.
The little ladder. Did you see the little ladder?
No, I totally ignored that. I was climbing the outside. I was like, it was like Spider-Man. I was like, I had one hand, I was like dangling. I was trying to think the thing. I couldn't quite figure out what the appropriate way to get there was, and they told us to stay in our things until the commercial, and I was like, well, fuck that. I was like, I'm not gonna stay in this stupid thing.
Yeah, it was hard to move around back there, though, too, because all the steps.
I almost fell in the thing. I also threw out my hips sitting down. I was like trying to like get on. They said don't sit behind the line, so I was positive if I did, it would just collapse. Yeah. So I tried to do this move, and I was like, oh god. I was like, oh god. It was really bad. Oh, it was really bad.
I could see Danielle like losing her mind and putting her dad up next week or something.
No way.
That would be so funny, though.
There's part of me. There's no sense in you doing this. This is why I can't. It's like there's part of me that says put up Amber against one of them and say the same exact thing as me and just say I'm not really sure where everyone stands. There's been a lot of confusing events with Dustin, with this, with that, or whatever, and kind of like so if I put the two of you up, like basically like you know Zach will have to show his true colors. I mean, I guess it doesn't work because it would be like I have to show my true colors, but obviously you know my true colors.
What happens when Amber wins the POV for some god-awful reason this week? Who do I put up then?
Well, you have to put one of them up, and you just have to say, well, I wasn't going to put Eric up, and I guess you have to say I'm not going to put Jamaica up, but I don't know. That's, you know, comes a little hairy, but, well, what you can say, let's just say it's Amber and Zach, and Amber comes down, you can say, well, this is a way that guarantees that Zach leaves because it's taking, you know, a vote away from Zach to stay, and Amber and Jamaica are going to vote Zach out, you know? So.
Yeah, because, like, if we were to take out, like, Dick or Danielle, then I think people would start targeting me and you instead of...
I kind of agree, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like the timing just needs to be right because... one of Amber or Zach is likely going to leave, which means there are 4 people playing, and there are 2 of them next week. Yeah. So that's kind of why it's like I feel like we should go and shouldn't go after him, but I feel like it's kind of why we shouldn't because they seem pretty content. It hasn't been like bothersome in terms of like we haven't had to have like big meetings or like crazy stupid things or whatever. It's just kind of on the sly, a little wink and a oh this is good type of thing. And there's part of me that's just saying I know that it sounds far-fetched, but there's part of me that's saying that what we discussed at the time might simply be the best thing, that have the 4 best people kick everyone's ass for 4 weeks, have the 4 of us be there, and then just say look at each other and say good luck, and the 2 of us versus the 2 of them, and just fucking hope that, you know, I don't pull a fucking Carol out of my ass at the final.
Well, that might be like when it comes down to like when did this happen?
The thing is though, I would like, obviously, I mean this goes without saying a millionfold, Zach to leave before Jamaica, because if Jamaica's still there, first of all, there's a better chance we could pull a last-second coup at the 5 and go with the 3 of us and one of them, which would be a lot better. And also, if Zach isn't there and Jamaica still can't compete at that point, she can't compete at the 6 or the 5, then let's just say for argument's sake, next week, you're looking for this?
Next week.
Let's say for argument's sake, whatever, Amber goes this week, just to play out a scenario, and either Dick or Danielle win next week, which is when there are 6 people left. That means when there's 5 people left, me, you, and one of Dick or Danielle can play.
Yeah.
If Zach is out, those are the only people playing when there's 5 people left. Me, you, and one of them.
Yeah.
And
That's funny.
not Jamaica. If Zach stays, he's playing also, and it means there's a good chance that if one of them, I think we can get them to stick, if we do it again this week, stick to it.
Yeah.
I think we can get them to stick next week, which is foreseeably important because there's a fair chance they'll win next week. And the way I see it then...
Come on, Eric.
Well, I can win. I'm just saying they have decent odds of winning next week, especially if Zach counts towards them and may be here.
Yeah.
So what we don't want is a scenario where Zach is still in at the 5 and they take Zach. If one of them wins power that week, they will try and get one of us out, and they'll have the votes because, let's say, we're both up. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. Or let's say one of us is up, they'll still have the votes of whichever one of them's not in charge and Zach. So I definitely want Zach to leave before Jamaica. But before Amber, I don't really care. I don't think Amber likes us at all, and I don't think she's trustworthy at all either. I think she's
that's
really
what I was
full
gonna
of
say.
shit.
If I put Zack and Amber up this week, and let's say Zach goes, I think Amber will try to side with Dick and Danielle.
I agree. I don't
But
think...
Jamaica's still here, so that leaves her to try and stay with Jamaica.
To me, it's not a clear-cut thing at all. I actually almost right now, not to say that this won't change 5 million times in the week, would almost be leaning towards eliminating Amber. She actually has done fairly well in the competitions recently. She had a second in the veto, a second in last week's HOH, a third in the prior week's HOH. Like, she's not been, like, disgraceful at all. Whereas Zach, I mean, he can't even touch it with a 10-foot pole, you know.
Yeah, but we'll see how he competes this week.
We'll see when well, it'll be very telling. That'll be an interesting thing to see if all of a sudden he comes out and is like the veto king or whatever. Yeah. But we both know that, like, I'm sure I'll play this week or whatever, so it'll be a whole different dynamic. Or I probably won't, actually, but...
I'm saying I'm going to win PLV this week.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
But to me, it's a weird thing to say, but taking out Amber breaks up Amber and Jamaica, and then it either shakes down 2 ways then. It's me, you, and Jamaica versus Zach, Dick, and Danielle, or...
it's going to be a tie vote this week, and I'm going to get to pick.
Or it's still me, you, Dick, and Danielle with Zach and, Jamaica on the
Jamaica's
outside.
really smart, and when she gets to do HOHs again, she's going to be another
she
someone.
only gets to do it if it's the final 4.
Oh, that's it?
Yep, final 4 and final 3 are that's it. No, she has 2 left, and so 6 people left and 5 people left she can't play in.
Never mind then.
That was a disaster, and I feel badly about it because I know it was in part for me and Dustin, so that was not a good choice. I would have done the same thing if I were in her position, and I would have regretted it. No, are you kidding me? That week, if I was playing the veto,
week,
I would have
but you wouldn't have done it for her.
No, I may have. I wouldn't have given up $250,000, but the 5 HOHs I may have.
Yeah.
The way I see it is, Amber and Zach are the people you're least close with, least are of value to you right now. I mean, what do either one of them really do for
nothing
you? And it still leaves the options of me, you, and Jamaica, and it still leaves the options of me, you, Dick, and Danielle. It doesn't ruffle the feathers of any of our strongest, like, possibilities moving forward.
That's funny that Zach said that to you, to say, because that basically means, like, I'm not coming after you, so don't come after me. But then who are you going after?
Well,
obviously, it would be you.
Well, yeah, it is
So,
me.
I mean...
But you don't... The only thing is... Well, you almost just fell off the bed. The only thing I can say, though, is that one of the easiest arguments to make against Zach you can't make. Because it's the... Zach, you've never been nominated... And, you should be nominated. I'd like to see you nominated. Everyone should be nominated at some point. We got to see you play the game and see what happens when